Welcome in, IllinoisPrep.com, Skyler King, alongside Lombard South legend Eric Seals.
I have a different one because I couldn't find a shirt from a different school.
It'll just be a Lombard South shirt every week, a different one.
No, next week is going to be a different school.
Okay, you heard it here. So when he has the same shirt on next week, you can all email in and yell at him. Skyler at iPrep, Eric iPrep on Twitter. Hit up the message board as always. We are talking, finally, getting to football. Week 1. We got 5 games to talk about. First, we're going to hit these 2 games that are playing at Soldier Field. Providence, Morgan Park. This was sort of a litmus test game last year for what these 2 teams did the rest of the season. Morgan Park went on a nice run, even though they slipped up against Simeon. And Providence, obviously not the type of season that they were hoping for.
Yeah, we talked about this when we did our top 10. And Providence snuck in at, what were they, 9? Were they 10? Yeah. So they snuck in. And, we think it's going to be a turnaround year for them. Morgan Park, I believe, just lost their coach. They had a successful year last year, but I think it's one of those teams that go up and down as far as success from year to year. So I think Providence is going to turn around, go back to their winning ways, and it should be a big W.
Yeah, this has got to be a statement game for Providence. They got to get off because it's not like the schedule gets easier year to year for Providence. They still got that conference that you can get beat up on if things start going bad. But yeah, I agree. Providence not only has to win this football game, they will win this football game, and that'll be the jumping-off point of getting back to the playoffs for them. The other one, it was 2 upsets that day.
Yep.
Simeon beat Mount Carmel, playing again. As we know from our team previews, you've got the Caravan.
Yep.
I got the Wolverines. Yep. Talk about why.
I think Mount Carmel's going to come out. They had a very successful year last year, lost in the championship game. Yep. And I think that, coming in this year, they're just going to hit Simeon in the mouth. I think Simeon is going to have a very good year, but I think they're going to find a way to contain the speed, and I think the Caravan are going to come out with a win.
And see, to me, I think you talked about that speed. I think Simeon's so athletic, and to me, last year should have been the year that Mount Carmel got him, because now Simeon should be a team that's ready for prime time all the time.
They might possibly be better than last year.
Yeah, and I mean, you still got Gregory, who, in my opinion, is going to be the best football player on the field. You lost Banks out of the backfield, who I really liked a lot, and you lost my boy, Mr. Scott, out of the defensive secondary. But these guys are so fast on both sides of the ball. It's really about, will Mount Carmel... When they were able to get him last year, I think there's an adjustment maybe to Mount Carmel's offense. But since they already know what's coming, I think Mount Carmel would have to pull a little trick play action to really slip up.
Now, see, what I think happened with Mount Carmel last year, I think they were caught off guard. They were surprised by Simeon. And I think they're going to come into their first game of the year. And we talk about the first game of the year all the time. Sometimes it's really messy. Teams that aren't as good as other teams can beat each other sometime, and I think that Mount Carmel is going to come out ready for Simeon this time, because they're not going to be like, hey, this is just another team that we're playing. This is a team that went far in the playoffs last year. So I think Frank Lindsay is going to get the Caravan ready.
Stevenson, Lyons Township, 2 8A schools that made sneaky runs last year. Stevenson ended up slipping up to Maine South, who made the title game. LT lost to Mount Carmel, who made the title game. Statistically on paper, best team Lyons Township's ever had, 10-win season. What do you think about this one?
Stevenson loses a lot of key players.
Mr. Earl was big.
Kevin Earl, Brian Wood, Steve Salata.
Every
time when we went to that game last year, or one time you missed who caught the ball, you're like, I bet he caught. I forgot what number he was. He was like, I bet 84 caught it. And it was every single time he had hand. I mean, he could catch a raindrop.
He had like 25 catches.
Running back Joe Casada. So I think they're losing a lot of key players. Everybody's looking at, I think it's Matt McCusi. The quarterback, the quarterback that's going to be replacing Kevin Earl, which is hard to replace someone like that. Very good quarterback. Lyons Township comes with Jamie Jones, who was a senior this year, running back who led Lyons Township last year on a big win against Lombard West. And I think what happened with last year with Lyons Township, definitely a team you should look at throughout the year. They had a slow start, And I think at the end of the year, they start speeding up. And now what they're looking to do is to continue where they left off last year.
Yeah, I think that LT, got the speed advantage in this game. I think when you talked about Mr. Jones, but also Matthew Harris is a 5'11", DB wide receiver.
He's everywhere. You put him anywhere on the field.
Yeah, and averaged nearly 40 yards per punt return. I think, in this game, both teams breaking in new quarterbacks. Field position is going to play a big role. And, I think I told you earlier I was going to pick Stevenson. I'm picking the Lions.
You're going to switch?
Yeah, I'm picking LT.
See,
I think
that's
Harris.
You should stick with what you went with. I was going with LT. I had it written down right here. And now you're just going to switch out of middle. I have LT. I think they're going to, continue some of the success from last year. And I think right now, I think Stevenson is definitely going to be a good team. Definitely probably going to make the playoffs. But they just lose a lot right now.
Yeah, they're going to get Lake Zurich again later in the season. And, Stevenson, 19 consecutive regular season wins. So that's certainly something that, to me, that's something that does give you, as a program, gives your kids confidence to say, we can't get beat in the regular season. We don't even get tested until we get to the big boys in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And so I think this is going to be a really, really close competitive game. But yeah, sorry,
that's okay.
I had to make the switch.
It's okay. I mean, if I pick a team, you're more likely going to be right now, so it's okay.
Field position with Matthew Harris wins it for LT. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, 2 more games, and when you look at the names, 2 very big ones. When we come back, Carmel JCA and Glenbard West Wheaton South. Welcome back in. IllinoisPrep.com. Skylar King, Eric Seals. 2 more games to preview. We've talked Providence, Morgan Park, Stevenson, Lyons Township, and Mount Carmel, Simeon. The next game, big one. Joliet Catholic, Carmel. You were at this football game last year, and that's when you fell in love with the Corsairs.
I did.
So talk about this one.
That is when I fell in love. I remember the game last year. I think it was they broke a record. It was 40 points scored in the first half or something like that. It was ridiculous. But these are 2 teams that are always gunning for each other. Carmel, if you look at the history between Carmel and JCA definitely has the upper hand. But I think with them coming back, they got 3 senior running backs coming back. They got they got the quarterback coming back. JCA, again, I think will be a good team this year, but they're losing, a couple critical positions. And
Mr. Jones back there is going to be toting the rock.
The running backs they have are ridiculous. If everybody else can figure something out, there is going to be a team to reckon with, obviously. But when it comes to Carmel, I think that the thing about this game is it's for the title almost. You have Marist is definitely a team that comes into play, but it's the first game of the season. You have to come right out of the gate.
Big conference rivalry. And
I think the Corsairs are going to have to walk away with this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you brought up something interesting, though. Carmel's 0 for the millennium, for the century, for the lifetime at Joliet Catholic.
Yep, that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. And certainly the Hilltoppers, they don't lose very often anywhere, but especially at home.
No.
But again, you talked about that backfield. When you talk about Koss and all these guys, and Malin Jones, Ty Isaac, good players, Josh Ferguson.
Big. I didn't realize, and I didn't realize how big they were. They're both over 6 feet, over 200 pounds. That's a good size for a college running back.
Right. I like Carmel also. The last game, Glenbard West.
Big Sunday game.
Wheaton South.
Yep.
And this game is the ESPN game.
It's the ESPNU game. Going to be on Sunday, August 28th.
And the home team's in trouble in this football game.
No, it's being at Glenbard. It's at
Glenbard
is it?
West. I thought it was at Wheaton South.
I'm pretty sure it's at Glenbard West.
Okay, well, then the home team's not in trouble.
Yeah.
Tommy Shutt and company have got 2 years of pent-up playoff frustration built up.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no Riley O'Toole. There's no Matt Rogers.
Titus Davis.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
It's just, Wheaton South has got the target on their back every year because of how good they've been. But I don't know if this squad's ready for the type of target that Glenbard West is bringing.
No, I think it's going to be. I definitely think it's going to be a Glenbard West win. It'll be interesting to see what Wheaton South comes with. I mean, it's a program that they restock every year, so they're not going to go into this game without a fight, without a doubt. But I think the benefit that they do have, I am picking Glenbard West, but the benefit that they do have is they played in an ESPN nationally televised game. A lot of the kids know what it's like to go through. The coaches know, the staff knows what it's like. Glenbard West hasn't done this before, so it's going to be their first time. So you might see some jitters at the beginning of the game with Glenbard West, just because there's going to be a lot of people there.
For Tommy Shutt, it's just going to be like going to play at Penn State,
right?
Boom, ESPN, crushing quarterbacks. I think this is the beginning of a big year. We both think big year for Glenbard West, marching towards a 7A state championship.
And it has to be. One thing that they can't do, like last year, is lose to, like they lost to LT last year. That shouldn't happen, and they shared the conference championship.
Right. There were some injuries, but I mean, they near the end of the year they were struggling a little bit.
And if they want to be the type of team like Wheaton South was last year, they pummeled every opponent that they had, and there was no questions asked. So that's what Glenbard West has to do. They have to play better than their opponent all the time.
So there you have it. Recapping, I've got Carmel, Simeon, Glenbard West, LT, and Providence. Eric has Carmel, Mount Carmel, Glenbard West, Lyons Township, and Providence.
So it'll be 5 for 5 for me and 4 for 5 for you.
Next week, we'll recap these, preview 5 more games. A lot of big stuff going on in East St. Louis next week. We'll be talking about that. As always, hit up the message boards on Twitter, Skylar iPrep, Eric iPrep, and we'll see you next time talking more football here at IllinoisPrep.com.